Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Dan.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Yongbin, Gunyong, Min, and Bin. And we're going to take you through Football for Peace in Korea with some background about the Korean conflict first and then about our program. So it's over to you, Yongbin.
Let me begin with the overall South Korea and North Korea division history. Soon after the liberation from Japanese colonial rule, the Korean peninsula was divided into North and South by the United States and Soviet Union. The tragedy of the Korean War followed. This left millions of casualties and countless separated families. The war has not formally ended since the signing of an armistice agreement in 1953. The conflict was used to justify dictatorship on both sides of the peninsula. Both Koreas claimed the whole peninsula as their territory in their constitutions. South Korea achieved democracy in 1988. Contact between Koreans is illegal without government approval to registered group. Decades of political and military confrontation have a continued impact on South Korean society. As you can see those pictures, there were some breakthrough in the conflict with the ending of the Cold War. Flood and famine in North Korea in the mid-90s led South Korea civil society to develop a movement calling for humanitarian assistance to help compress in the North. Our organization, the Korean Sharing Movement, was at the forefront of this movement in forcing the South Korean government to change the law and the attitude to allow verified certain NGOs to deliver humanitarian assistance directly to North Korea. The first ever meeting between South and North Korean leaders took place at a summit in Pyongyang in 2000. Over the next 10 years, South Korean NGOs engaged in the humanitarian and development project in North Korea. The joint nature of the project led to the development of working relationships between South and North Koreans for the first time in 50 years of division. This relationship building was people-to-people peace building. KSM has visited North Korea around 600 times and taken around 6,000 people across the border to North Korea. However, like all of this sudden, after the election of the conservative president in 2008 and the sinking of the South Korean neighborship in 2010, measures were introduced which purged almost all inter-Korean exchange. Within South Korea, the so-called South-South conflict raged over how to regard North Korea. Should North Korea be seen as an enemy and pressured and isolated, or should the North Korea be engaged and cooperated with as a partner in a peace project? That was a controversy. In this context, in 2013, the Korean Sharing Movement looked to start peace education programs within South Korea to get young people to engage with what had become a very divisive topic. Existing unification education in South Korea consists of a lot running explaining the imperativeness of unification as the end goal. Korean Sharing Movement negotiated with Brighton University to have access to the F4P manual, having seen reports of the project in Israel and Iceland, and yes, and yes, I'm sorry, Ireland. Yes, Ireland. I'm sorry. The last one is Ireland, and I will my control back to Min.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Min, the member of the F4P Korea. So we ran the first F4P program with 16 elementary school children in 2013. We were learning as we went along, and nothing was perfect, but the children loved it. Yeah. Away from an emphasis on elite performance, the kids enjoyed playing sports and building connection with new friends. We started learning possession programs every spring and autumn. Next, please. Yes. As the program slowly became established in 2015, KSM successfully applied to the Seoul Metropolitan Government for funding. With this money, we translated the F4P manual into Korean and hosted the first of our annual peace education through sports coach training camp. Graham and 8 other came from Brighton to help us learn the first event at Seoul National University. Over the years, KSM slowly took over more of the learning of the camp. In 2019, Brighton sent 3 coaches to participate in our latest coach training. We have incorporated participatory session in all of our workshop to draw out the experience of the participant with regards to the inter-Korean conflict and conflict within South Korea. I just toss next slide to Kenyang.
We are continuing to run our spring and autumn programs every year. Since 2018, we have expanded to operating schools through PE classes and after-school clubs. This has allowed us to run longer programs and reach more children. To decrease our reliance on the annual coach training event, we have started a university student coach training program. We run this following the academic schedule in the spring and autumn. We run workshops on various peace-related topics alongside the students' coaching development. This means they are also participants in peace education as they are reflecting on the conflict, the F4P values, and peace. And next slide.
Hello. Yes, so as you heard, our project is not operated between South and North Koreans. We run the program in South Korea as a peace education project. So we believe that for the peace process to be sustainable, ordinary people must be able to participate. Before we start our peace education programs, we ask the students what they think peace means. They either have no answer or they define negative peace with the absence of fighting and war. And there was a famous study in South Korea that asked people to think of the word that they most associate with peace. Instead of words such as cooperation or love or tranquility or partnership, the most common answer was a dove. So this reflects how peace is seen as symbolic rather than as a process of changing lives. There's also a teacher that's connected with our program who asked their students to draw a picture depicting peace, and the recurring image that came out was two men wearing suits, shaking hands. So in South Korea, peace is divorced from people's reality and seen as an abstract concept. So peace is not regarded as a process involving new relationships, but something completed by politicians with statements and pieces of paper. Through Football for Peace, we are trying to challenge these attitudes and give children the space to think about what peace means to them. Because we're using this as a peace education program, rather than bringing conflict parties together, we added an extra stage to the F4P process. At the start of each session, we look at a sketchbook with pictures and ask the children questions to draw out reflections on the values and their everyday lives. We then try and link that all back to North Korea and the Korean conflict. So the pros of our program, well, as you know, games can be much more appealing to children than textbooks. And through football, we can engage with people that don't usually do peace education. The realizations about values occur naturally through experience while playing games. So we're providing this experiential method of education rather than the banking method. We're providing something fresh compared to the norm in Korea of rote learning. And also by only asking questions rather than giving any answers, the children can feel that they have agency in developing their own concept of peace and what the values mean. South Korea is a very competitive society, but with F4P, the children can get used to cooperating and also get used to conflict within a controlled setting. And now I'll hand over to Bin for the last few slides. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm Bin. We are the only organization in Korea utilizing sports in this way. So far, 750 children and 250 adults have participated in our program. We are trying hard to find new ways to train facilitators and coaches, such as our uni student development program. Coach training sessions are led by coaches that previously received the training, leading to sustainable knowledge transfer. The main challenges we face are that there is a lack of will to engage from the sports sector here, which is focused mainly on elite athletes development with a weak recreational lifestyle sports sector. This makes it more difficult to secure locations to run projects and coaches to run them. The coach-athlete relationship in Korea is traditionally very hierarchical and disciplinarian. This also leads many parents, schools, and also possible coaches to have a standoff attitude to engaging in values-based sports programs. The last slide. Yes, of course, you can see the left side is me. We are continuing on our journey of trying to help young Koreans believe in their agencies to develop their own ideas about the values and peace. If they are armed with these tools, we hope they will build a more inclusive community where they live in South Korea and develop a desire to want to change the inter-Korean relationship for themselves. We hope to engage in international exchange with our F4P programs around the world and learn from your examples. Through hearing your examples, we can see our own reality more clearly and hopefully find some inspiration in how you can you have overcome problems where they arise. When we think about your situation, It will help to develop our creative imagination. We look forward to continued communication. Thank you.
오, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. 오.